Shedeur Sanders sends defiant message ahead of Browns QB battle. As the Cleveland Browns get ready to head to training camp, rookie quarterback Shedeur Sanders knows it's his last shot to step up ahead if the season. The Cleveland Browns will hold their first practice of training camp on Friday, July 25th, but the rookies, including quarterback Shedeur Sanders, have already reported to camp. Sanders has had a rough road starting out his rookie year in the NFL, but he's determined to prove he deserves to be there. On Friday, he posted a video to Instagram with a bold message. Time to be legendary. Shedeur Sanders speaks out before Browns camp. Sanders was a star as the quarterback for the Colorado Buffaloes, where his dad, NFL legend Deion Sanders, was his head coach. But the start to his professional career has been anything but smooth. Once a projected early-round draft pick, Sanders slid to round 5 and enters camp as the fourth-string QB behind veterans Joe Flacco and Kenny Pickett and fellow rookie Dillon Gabriel, who was selected ahead of him in the draft. But Sanders is not discouraged. On Friday, he issued a bold and determined message on Instagram as he prepares for training camp and the final leg of the team's quarterback competition. No excuses. I'll put in the work and do what I have to do, Sanders said. About to be time to be legendary, whenever that time is. Mentally, at the very beginning, it'll be a challenge. But I like the challenge now. Despite long odds and social media criticism, Sanders remains focused and optimistic. With Cleveland facing a tough early season schedule and owning 2 2026 first-round picks, Sanders may have a limited window to prove he belongs, but he's ready for the challenge. The lights were brighter than ever, but Shedeur Sanders didn't blink. With whispers of the NFL swirling around him and the Cleveland Browns quarterback room heating up like a July training camp, Sanders stood tall, not just as a rising star, but as a young man with something to prove. Not to critics, not to scouts, but to himself. A social media post sent the sports world buzzing. It wasn't flashy. It didn't come with filters, music, or hashtags. Just a photo of Shedeur on the field, helmet tucked under one arm, eyes locked into the distance. The caption read, "Pressure is a privilege. Let's dance." It was more than a message. It was a warning. Shedeur wasn't just entering the NFL conversation. He was kicking down the door. Since transferring with his father, Coach Deion "Prime" Sanders, to Colorado, Shedeur had taken the college football world by storm. His poise, arm strength, and football IQ made him a standout in a conference where quarterbacks often came and went like passing clouds. But his biggest strength? Composure. Whether under the Saturday night lights or when facing media storms, Shedeur never cracked. And now, as rumors swirled that he was preparing to take his talents to the NFL and potentially compete for the Cleveland Browns' starting quarterback spot, the youngest Sanders wasn't ducking the spotlight. He was stepping into it. The Browns had a problem, one most franchises dread. Too many quarterbacks, not enough clarity. Injuries and inconsistency had left the team in flux. Veteran QBs had come and gone. The offense needed a spark. The locker room needed a leader. And the fans? They were hungry for someone who could not only survive the pressure, but rise above it. Enter Shedeur. He wasn't even officially on the roster yet, but already, his name was being discussed in Cleveland sports bars and front offices alike. Analysts debated whether his college dominance could translate to the pros. Some said he was too smooth to rattle, while others questioned if he could handle the gritty grind of the AFC North. Shedeur heard it all, and he let them talk. What he didn't do was beg for approval. What he did do: post that photo, that caption, that message. Pressure is a privilege. Those words echoed through media outlets and podcasts, chopped into segments and debated like scripture. But to those who knew Shedeur, it was more than a motivational quote. It was his DNA. He's built different, Coach Prime had said earlier in the season. He doesn't flinch. He doesn't fold. Shedeur was born in the fire, and now he's ready to walk through it. Even Browns insiders admitted there was something different about the kid. Not just the swagger that came with the Sanders name, but the substance. The early morning film sessions, the calm under blitz pressure, the refusal to make excuses even when his offensive line crumbled. And most importantly, the silence between the noise. While other players crafted statements through agents and PR teams, Shedeur's message came straight from him. One sentence. No fluff. No explanation. As training camp neared, whispers became headlines. Sanders to Browns? Lit up Twitter. ESPN debated it over 5 segments. Former players chimed in, some in support, others skeptical. But Shedeur never joined the debate. He was too busy working. Footage leaked of private workouts with NFL receivers. His footwork looked crisper, his timing faster. Every throw had that tight spiral that made fans lean forward and defenders lean back. Word around the league? He was preparing like a pro before he even became one. Then came the bombshell. An anonymous source inside the Browns organization revealed that Shedeur had already met with team leaders. The meeting wasn't about hype. It was about leadership. It was about expectations. He told us straight up, the source said. He's not coming to be a backup. That's when the message became clear. This wasn't a college kid hoping to impress. This was a quarterback aiming to take command. Not in 5 years. Not after a redshirt season. Now, some critics scoffed. He hasn't thrown a pro pass. He's not ready for Myles Garrett in practice, let alone the Steelers' defense. But Shedeur didn't address them. Instead, a second message dropped. A video this time. Just a slow-motion clip of him lacing up his cleats, then stepping onto a misty field at sunrise. The screen faded to black with one sentence. If you're scared of the dark, stay off the field. That was Shedeur's version of war paint. To him, the NFL wasn't a dream. It was a destination. And if Cleveland was the first stop, so be it. He wasn't walking in to shake hands and nod quietly in the QB room. He was walking in with his sleeves rolled up and a plan to lead. Not because of his last name. Not because of his college stats. Because deep down, Shedeur Sanders believes something most young players can't say out loud. He belongs.